Okay, my name's Carrie Halley. I go to Helix Charter High. I'm doing my senior project. I'm building 2 garden boxes for one of my teachers, Mrs. Block. And this is the finished product, almost. I just have to put the bottom on. Okay, so now I'm going to show you step by step on how to cut your wood, pre-drill your holes. For my project, personally, I did 2.5 by 4 foot long, but you can do any size comparing to your garden and what you preference and like. For this project on cutting wood, I used a compound miter saw. It's best for cutting wood because of the angle that it's at, and it's the strongest. For my project, I went to Home Depot. You can go to any of your local lumber stores and buy wood. For this project, you need 3 12-foot long 2x6s, or you could use a 2x8 or however wide you want your panels. For my boxes, there are 3 panels. The second thing that you're going to want to do after you cut all your wood is measure your holes. I did 2.5 by 1 inch. And you're going to want to use a Forstner bit to pre-drill your holes for your washer. And you're going to want to go in only halfway because you don't want them too deep because of your thickness in your block. So now what you have to do after you do this is assemble this on the ground. You're going to want to clamp it together. That's called a U-shaped clamp on the end. So your next step after you drill all your Forstner bit holes is to start assembly. You want to clamp these 2 together and make sure your holes are aligned with this. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is pre-drill. The next thing you're going to want to do is measure out your holes that you're going to attach your 4x4 to for extra support on your bench. The next thing you're going to want to do is drill your pilot holes so that keeps your wood from cracking when you screw in your lag bolts. What I don't want to do is drill your pilot holes into your 4x4 so your 4x4 doesn't split as well. Through your Forstner bit hole, you're going to want to drill a larger hole so that your lag bolt, when you screw it in, only tightens to your 4x4, which brings the 4x4 suctioned to your other pieces of wood. Once you have your lag bolts in and they're screwed in until you can't get them anymore, you can drill them in. The next thing you're going to want to do is sand it. I'm doing it with the 220 because it's the softest. You're going to want to go with the grain because if you go against the grain, once you stain it, you're going to see every which way that you go. So what you're going to do when you want to stain is you're going to want to have a paintbrush, preferably a big paintbrush, and a rag in your hand. Because when you do this, you want to paint it on and then rub it off, because when you rub it in, it's going to go deep into your wood and you're going to get that color that you want. And you can rub it as many times as you want, apply as many layers as you want, however dark you want it, however light you want it. If you want to sand it after to get like a rustic look, which I'm not going for. What you're going to want to do after you're done staining is measure from your inside to your outside for your bench top to look like that. Mine is 25 exactly. So when you go to your saw, you're going to want to cut 25 on the short side. So when your miter, your 45 angle, it will be out from the inside and look perfectly like that. What you want to do after you measure your measurements for your benches is come over here, put your lines on, measure twice, cut once. The reason why the compound miter saw is the best for cutting this is because miter is a true angle, so you get your 45, so there won't be any problems when you put your blade on. So after you've gotten all your pieces together, you want to put your Forstner bit on your drill and drill your holes so that your washer fits perfectly. Next thing you're going to need to do is pre-drill your holes. Next thing you need to do is drill in your live bolts. And then repeat. Okay, the next thing I did was sand it down, which I already showed you guys how to do, and then I stained it. Super easy. So the next thing you're going to want to do after you have all your 2x4s cut is pre-drill your holes so that your wood doesn't split because it's really thin. What you're going to want to do after you measure your width and your length for that is to cut your plywood with your circulars. Okay, so the next thing you're going to want to do is lay your plywood on top of your thing and measure out your feet, because to lay your plywood in, you're going to have to cut out your feet. What you're going to want to do is drill in your 2x4s to the bottom so that your platform that sits on the bottom stays. So you have to put that in first because on the other side there's the bench, so you wouldn't be able to get it in first. So you have to put that in first and then screw these in. Slowly. Last thing you're going to do after you tilt up your boxes is lay it on something, because you're going to varathane it, and the varathane I'm using is an outdoor, because once you stain it, your wood will rot faster, so you want to put something over it so that your dirt is sealed in and all of your water will not seep into your wood. So that's the next thing you're going to do. Oh. Here. Senior project complete.